You all hear that? You have to press that button. Really quick, Tiffany, do not forget anybody who is in the waiting room, just go ahead and admit them, please.
Got you.
Thank you. Okay, so welcome everybody. I am so excited to see you guys. You are here. We are all here to talk about the future of news. This is a very, very good Q&A that we're going to have with James and also Melissa. James, he is a news director in Victoria, Texas, and Melissa in Spokane, Washington. The purpose when we talk about the future of news is that we know that 2020 threw everybody a curveball. So you always have to know how to be prepared and what skills do you need. And a lot of those skills have changed. And it's always, when it comes to just understanding on, a lot of you all have never even stepped foot in a newsroom. So that's one of the things that I always want to acknowledge. So when it comes to the other understanding on how news works, the typical and the traditional way of you coming into the office, staying there for 5 and 6 hours or 7 to 8 hours and then going home, a lot of that has changed. A lot of stations have OTT platforms, streaming platforms. So a lot of the roles are different. So one of the things that I want to make sure is that you know how to be prepared, what jobs to go after, and what the skills that you have, what positions that you need to apply for in newsrooms, okay? And we're going to talk about that. I briefly gave you all just some background about myself. I was able to be at my station, the Emma Bowen Foundation, for 3 years. So that was at CBS 42 in Birmingham. So I was underneath the EBF program. And I understand that a lot of people did not have that opportunity, and I get that. So one of the things why I created DCOW is I wanted people to have a peek inside of what news looked like and just the different things that you can do inside of news. Right now I'm a social media specialist. I also work at ABC in the news gathering department and also ABC 7 in Sarasota, Florida. So before we get started, I like virtual claps. So if you are a big emoji person, I know I am. I'm animated. So, and I know you all are too. So if you can please clap for our guests that we have here today. We're going to have a great discussion. You all are going to be able to ask some questions. And I also want to make sure it's not every day and it's not every single day that you can talk to a news director. So we are definitely glad to have them with us. And write down any questions that you have during our sessions. Write down any questions you have for our speakers. And then also, Tiffany, she is going to be able to drop some of those questions that you have, okay? So we also want to acknowledge Colin Benedict. He's the vice president for Morgan Murphy News. He is amazing. Some of you all were on our first live that we have with them, but him and Kate Daughtry, what they do is they really group this talent together. They say, hey, you would be good for this station, for this position. And they work hard day in and day out to make sure that a lot of your resumes and your reels get pushed forward. So news directors like Melissa and James are there able to see them. So this is Kate Daughtry. She is amazing. Make sure that you all connect with her on LinkedIn. She's the director of talent and development. And when I tell you, if she can tell you, she can look at your resume and say, hey, this will work best or this will be good. But if you're anytime that you're looking for feedback, always connect with her and she'll be happy to give it to you. And then today, make sure that we say hello, James, in the comment section. But James Munoz, did I say the last name correct?
Munoz.
Munoz.
Munoz, if you want to do it that way.
In Munoz. Okay, I can do
there
that.
You go. Perfect.
Munoz. He's the executive producer for Morgan Murphy Media. Okay. And he's worked in 7 Texas television newsrooms. That is amazing. Since 1998. So he has seen the different changes that have happened, within a 20-year span. So I definitely wanted him to come on and just tell us, especially when we talk about the future of news, how does this look, for millennials? How does this look for our traditional 5 p.m., 6 p.m. watchers, and it goes down, even to our social media presence. So that's always something to keep in the back of our minds. And then Melissa Luck for KXLY in Spokane, Washington. She's the executive producer. She also oversees TV news, digital platforms, promotion, and news productions, the same as James. So we want to make sure that we also say hello, Melissa. thanks for listening in the comments. So y'all get a warm welcome. So without any more time going anywhere else, I want to make sure that we get to it. So Melissa and James, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other's faces. And what I want to do is I want to get into the nitty gritty. So a lot of the students here and a lot of the attendants here tonight, they are about to graduate or they're looking for their first or second job, right? So they're new. They're from that time span from 0 to 2 years. What skills do they need now to get a job in your newsrooms? So I'll first start with Melissa and then I'll go to James.
Sure. Well, I'm a fangirl of Kamara from years ago, so I'm excited to hear from you and see you. And if you guys don't realize the remarkable things she's doing for this industry, it's awesome. So I'm grateful to be here. Talking about skills that you need right away in our newsrooms, there's a lot, but I would think the most important things right now is really understanding that nobody is just a TV journalist anymore. If you are in a TV newsroom now, no matter what size market, you are a digital journalist, you're a social media journalist, you're a TV journalist, you might be a podcaster, you might be, God only knows what else we're going to come up with for you. But I think it's a matter of, being able to do a lot of different things. And they say multitasking is a myth and that's not a real thing, but that is part of it, is just being able to understand how your skills translate to other places. You guys have a great advantage compared to when James and I were starting out, when we were kind of learning this on the fly, and we had, not to say James and I are the same age, but I think we're in the ballpark. We didn't grow up with, we didn't grow up with the internet, for crying out loud. So, we were kind of learning all those things at once. So I think, those skills are really important, but it's a little bit more innate to what you're doing already. And then I think just my number one skill in a journalist is just being curious about the world. That means when you're driving to work and you see a sign that says something weird, instead of going, oh, that's weird, and forgetting about it, it's being passionate and being passionately curious to find out what that is. And that seems really obvious, but I think it's something that's overlooked. So those are my quick immediate things, but James probably has something more valuable.
That's great, Melissa. Yeah, I agree. I think, coming out of college, I know they're giving you the skills that you need, which now is you being able to shoot, write, edit. Certainly digital first is a big component of what we're doing. So you want to be able to post your story first to our website and then push it out to our app and to your social media pages and our social media pages. So it's changed so much in the 24 years that I've been in the business, to where a multi-skilled journalist is having to do it all. And there are people who come out of college and it's like just second nature to them to do all that, the skills that they have to shoot, write, edit. They set up their live shot. And it's just amazing. Very different than when I started. When I started and I picked up a camera, they said, put that down. We have photographers. You don't need that. And I wish I had learned that more, because it's such a great skill to know how to shoot beautiful video and know how to edit it. And people now are learning that just on their phones with their iPhones, and how to edit packages and everything. So definitely people who are big readers, great writers, and people who know that this is probably something they want to do for a long time, because we want people who are in it for the long haul. It's not, we have 3-year contracts here most of the time, so we really invest in training people that first and second year into learning everything they need to know, so that when they get to a market like Melissa's market size, they're prepared. And so there's a lot of learning to still do, even though you have those basic skills, which get you in the door.
Yeah, and I want to talk about those basic skills, because oftentimes, when you're coming right out of college, if you think you can edit a package, you think you can get a job at a news station. You did it for your college. You did it for your college, you did it for your news station. You're like, okay, I can edit. But now a lot of students, what I see the disconnect is that we have probably students who are 2 years, probably from that 2020 to now who are saying, listen, I have the skills, I have the degree. Why am I not getting a job? So that's why I wanted to have, this conversation. So what are some areas of opportunity that you see that students really probably need to, go in, whether it's reporter or whether it's, general skills, on why you say, hey, listen, this is why they're not ready for a job just yet?
I will say, I would guess that most of you are, the go-getters, whether you've graduated already or you're in school now. You're probably the people in your class that people look to as like, okay, that person, we're all kind of that. You wouldn't be here if you weren't that. I mean, you're aggressive and you're ambitious and all those things. I think the one thing that takes the longest to translate as far as when you get a job is speed. Very few colleges are having you do, turn day turn packages. And even if you are, there's some schools that have, live newscasts. You can't replicate all the things that can go wrong and get in your way in a typical news day when there's a million factors at play. So I think that's where I see when people get a job, the toughest transition. It was the toughest transition for me. And that's been, 20 plus years ago. The speed and the pressure that comes with that was eye-opening for me. As far as getting the job, I mean, I think the number one thing I want you to know about when you search for a job is it's almost never about you. It's timing. Timing is the number one thing. I mean, you could send a reel to me today, and I've got 3 openings right now, and I could be like, yep, this is it. Let's make this happen. You could send the same reel to me 2 weeks from now if my positions are filled, and you might not even get a second look. So you'll make yourself crazy. And that's not just in your first job. That's in your second job, your third job, your fourth job. You will make yourself crazy comparing yourself to other people and saying, why does that person have a job and why does this person have a job and I don't? Where it's almost never about you, which as a control freak, personally, that's hard to deal with. But I just want you to know that that's the reality. If you just want to get into a news station, I think just get your foot in the door somewhere. I think most news directors, especially my size market, which is mid 60s and below, I just want the best people in the tent. And then we figure out kind of what their strengths are. So let's say you want to anchor, you want to report, but those jobs aren't open at the time, or maybe you don't have enough experience with that. Get on our digital team. The regular digital producing jobs for us, it's a lot of writing for the web. It's creating content. It's sometimes creating video, doing live streams, that kind of thing. But once you're in the door and you say, hey, I'd like to try doing this, or I'd really like to report, what do I need to do to get to that point? If you've established a relationship in our newsroom as a hard worker and all those things, then we absolutely look for the potential to grow. Same thing with producers. If you want a job in a newsroom right now, be a producer. Every newsroom in the country is desperate for producers. And you don't have to have producing experience to be a producer. To me, I mean, we have our 3 of our main show producers, actually all of our main show producers right now, of all of them, one of them was training to be a producer when he was in college. One came from radio, one applied for a digital job, one of them used to work in our graphics department. So it's a great way to get in the newsroom, get to know people, and also see everything, and then really see like, okay, I want to gravitate to this or this. So that was like probably way too much information packed into that answer, but I think just getting in the door and being patient with that can make a difference and pay off in the long run.
No, I agree. We talked about timing. I know a lot of you all, we have spoken offline, and everybody has a different story, right? And one of the things that I definitely want to focus on is she said timing. So Tiffany, who is the Zoom moderator for tonight, when her and I connected, she first needed a resume revamp. But now, in timing, her and I was able to talk, and she just received and accepted a job offer in Columbia, South Carolina as a digital producer. So it went from 2 months ago, she just needed resume help, to, hey, Tiffany, I had know somebody and they looking for somebody. Would you like a job? And she was ready to go. And it was all about timing. So when she said that, I think that makes sense. James, I know you wanted something to add with that.
Yeah, I would just say don't give up. If this is what you really want to do, and you know deep down in your heart you want to be a journalist, look at the other options. I know if I knew back then what I knew now, there's a lot of things I would have done differently. And I was told once by someone, get your foot in the door, but don't get your foot stuck in the door. I don't think that's true anymore, because we've had people come into our newsroom and they'll be promoted to various positions, and that was my story. You know, I was offered a photojournalist job in 1990 something, and I talked it over with people, and they're like, no, if that's not what you want to do, don't do it. And then I was offered a 5 p.m. weather job in Odessa, Texas. And boy, I wish I would have said, yes, show me, teach me, let's do that. But I had my heart set on being a news journalist. And so that's the route I took. And fortunately, I got hired. I graduated in May, and I guess I got hired in February. So I wasn't one of those that was quickly snatched up right at graduation. And that's okay. It takes, if you're out of work and you're trying to get in, it's a part-time job. 30 hours a week should be spent applying to jobs. And I would encourage you to, you know, apply once or twice if there's other openings. And it's okay to email or call the news director once and say, just making sure you got everything I needed. I'm really interested. Because you want to be only apply where you want to go. You don't want to just apply randomly. You really want to be able to say, this is where I want to go. I've researched the area. This is where I want to be. I can see myself being there for 3 years, so that you know that you're serious about it, and we know you're serious about it. But you don't want to do that more than once, probably. Once you've talked or left a message or emailed, I promise you we've seen it. And again, it's just about timing. And news directors know what they need, where they need, and it's just about making sure you've applied each time it opens the position or a different position, and then letting us know once that you truly are interested and this is you're available or what your situation is. But this type of setting is very rare to have time with two news directors, because we rarely take calls, or you know, we screen our emails. But I would just say, don't give up. Keep applying. And one of the rules when you're out of work, whether it's because you were laid off or terminated or you quit, is to let everybody you know that you're out, and say, I'm out, I'm looking, this is where I'm looking, this is what I'm looking for. And this type of setting is so critical. We need this to grow and to maintain itself, because there's different career transition workshops, and that's what they call themselves, career transition workshop.org. And they'll teach you everything about negotiating, writing the proper resume. And this is different because we're going to be focused on news and how it works, and newsrooms and how to get in. And we know it's been challenging. Like Kamara was saying, y'all haven't been able to learn through osmosis and sit in the newsroom because we haven't taken some internships. But that's another route, is to apply for internships. Most good companies will pay and then require that you get college credit. So those will hopefully be coming back, and maybe there's some that'll do virtual internships. But perseverance once you get in, and don't give up, keep applying.
No, I like that. And then towards the end of this call, we're going to talk about creativity, because you know, during the pandemic, you're going to have to make lemonade sometimes without lemons. Okay, you're going to have to create a reel. You're going to have to know how to make things work. It might not be the best situation, but you can make it into a good situation. And I think with the pandemic, you know, doing educational courses, getting people help with news producing, MMJ, just doing everything on your phone. Because when we saw with, you know, citizen journalism, a lot of, you know, the protests, the live briefings for COVID, a lot of people just had that on their cell phone going live. So it's a different ways that you can make it happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask one more question, but now I'm about to answer the I'm going to open the floor for questions, because we came here for questions and answers for you all to interact. So go ahead, Kim Ford. I like you and your pearls. So just heads up, I see you. I said everybody dress business casual, and I see that. Cherie. Okay, Tyreek. Let me see this. Oh yeah, Tiffany. Please let everybody know. I think that was a DM, but let everybody know to drop any questions. And then we are also going to open it up. So before I open it up for questions and answers, I want to ask you all, are you all hiring at your positions right now? And if so, what are they? And if you're smart, which I know everybody here is smart, you'll go ahead and you'll have your resume and everything together. Just send it over. I don't know. But is anybody hiring at your station?
We are all hiring. We are all hiring. I can't imagine. it's not going to feel like it to you, but man, there has been some times where I would not want to look for a job in TV. Right now is a great time to be looking because everybody's hiring. We are hiring currently 2 MMJs, pretty traditional MMJs, TV, but obviously with some digital components. And then we just posted a job that we just created, brand new job. We have no idea what's going to happen here, but it's essentially a digital and streaming anchor position. So basically, you would be it's a really cool combination of digital and TV, and essentially, coordinating what's happening on our streaming apps, finding opportunities for live events, and then like almost commentating through live events. So I'll give you an example. We had a news conference with our governor today, and this anchor would basically go on a few minutes early, talk about what we're going to see. The governor's news conference would happen. Maybe the anchor would then come out and respond, kind of recap. They'll do live interviews on our streaming channels. They could do specific digital reporting that would originate on our digital channels. So it's seriously such a cool job. So that digital streaming anchor position was just posted. So 2 MMJs and a digital streaming anchor position at KXLY in Spokane.
Okay, Mr. James.
Yeah, we have 3 positions. 2 are posted. I'm going to post the other one here in the next several months, but we need a weekend anchor who will also MSJ 3 days out of the week and learn to produce. They're going to learn it all. It's a great position to be weekend anchor. You're like the news director on the weekends. You're going to learn it all. You're going to be in charge of your reporter. You're going to produce, and it's a fun job to have. And then you're going to still be able to report 3 days out of the week. And then I have a main anchor who would anchor the 5, 6, and 10 p.m. shows and help produce those. And also when there's opportunities to report, that person would MSJ or report for us and bring in whatever they, I have anchors that will bring in VOSOTs or VOs or full screens daily just because they love what they do and they want the information out there. So I have those 2 positions, which, this is a small market, Victoria, Texas. I think it's one of the best kept secrets in Texas, and I've lived all over Texas. It's a wonderful place. We're 45 minutes from the beach. We're near 4 of Texas's top largest cities, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. You can take day trips there. We're near Corpus Christi. We have someone who works here but lives in Corpus Christi, so it's that close. And then anyway, yes, I love this place, but the other position is a producer. So we have 2 producers, a morning producer and an evening producer, and we'll have our evening producer position open this summer to late summer. And I think that's the perfect job because producing, you'll always have a job if you know how to produce. Yeah. And these producers can do it from home. So if there's an emergency and, one of my producers is needed by Melissa, we can say, let him handle the world and state or national news to help out, and he can do it from home. If we have, we have the same systems, ENPS or whatever. So what can be done now is amazing because we can do a lot at home. Right. We've seen people anchor at home and report at home. So it's an exciting time to be in this business.
I agree. And yes, ma'am, you were going to.
I forgot another job we have posted. I forgot. See, we have too many jobs open. We're also hiring it's essentially a morning producer / a now desk anchor. A lot of stations call it a breaking news anchor, a live desk anchor. We call it a now desk anchor because we're 4 News Now. So essentially helping doing some producing on our morning show, and then basically being on the anchor desk every single day, talking about news that's coming up, news that's breaking. It's probably the most exposure of, and it's pretty close to an entry level position. It has been in our shop for the last couple of years. Literally live anchor reps every single day. So it's a good combination of producing and getting some anchoring reps as well.
All right. Well, this is exciting. So what we're going to do is I asked in the comments who's looking for a job to comment me. Julian Harden, Carla, Keith, Bronte, Zachary Smith, Cherie, Dijon, Wesley, a lot of y'all came here looking for jobs and you're in the right place. So now let's talk. And Zachary, today you are standing out to me. Thank you for dressing the part. Please introduce yourself and then tell us what kind of job you're looking for.
My name is Zachary Smith. I'm from Harlem, New York. I'm looking to get into production, so it was nice to hear that they have so many production jobs because that's something I'm really interested in. You know, just telling stories and creating stories and bringing them to light.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Zachary, for I think Miss Melissa, did you have the PA position open?
We do not. Maybe we do. No, you know what? I think we do. That's handled by somebody else that does the hiring. So
Okay.
I think we kind of always do. So that maybe
Okay. What would your advice be to somebody? They just want to get their foot in the door. He's coming from New York, and a lot of people, they'll be coming from different areas. I mean, it could be from Atlanta. They just say, hey, I want to start. What advice would you give to them to say, hey, go ahead, be at this station, learn the ropes. You start off as a PA, maybe you can go to producer, content producer. What's your advice?
I say just get in the door, exactly like you said. I think if you haven't spent a lot of time in a newsroom, it's hard to know exactly what you want to do. I mean, we've had people come in as producers and they end up on the air. We have producers who come in TV and end up on one of our radio stations and, all those things. So I think just, find a place that's a good fit that you might want to stay, and find a place that will let you try other things, even if they're not your job description.
Yeah.
And we are that kind of place. I think our company is that kind of company. But there are some places that they're like, okay, you're a producer, don't even ask me about being on the air. Or
Right.
you are a reporter, don't even ask me about doing weather. So I would just ask those questions up front, because some places, like I said, are pretty rigid with that. But if you just know where you want to get your start, I think be upfront about that in the hiring process too, to say like, hey, I'm applying for this job and I'll give it my all, but this is kind of my ultimate goal. And if you find the right place and the right fit, they'll help you reach that goal, because not only does it benefit you for the personal growth and development, benefits the station too, when people can do more than one job. So selfishly, we like that too.
Correct. So what I encourage you to do is, Zachary, I think if you don't have your resume, send it to me, but go ahead and apply for the positions that you want, KXLY, and then also James has some positions as well. So make sure you, and Tiffany, please drop their LinkedIn, both of their LinkedIn, and make sure that you go ahead and connect, okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Who else has a question? We're going to open it up for questions. Tyreek, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Yeah,
I'm
this
doing
is great. Yeah, so my question is, well, first, I'm Tyreek Wynn. I'm a senior at Georgia State University here in Atlanta, and then also the president of the National Association of Black Journalists at Georgia State. So my question is, what does it take? So like, let's say, you're in a newsroom. What does it take to like get like your own segment on the news, or maybe like host your own weekend show? Like what are the steps to get to that point?
Tyreek is 3 steps down the line in his career here, which I love. That's great. I think just having that ambition and that attitude. I mean, I think get really good at the job that you get hired for, right? Start there, get really good at it, work hard, be dependable. And then I think you just approach your boss with it to say, hey, I really want to do this, or I want an opportunity to do more here. There is no boss in the world that I've ever met that would fault you in any way for having that type of ambition to do something. I think always come to your bosses with ideas on not only what you want to do, but how you could get it done. So if somebody came to me right now and wanted to do something like that, I would want them to have like, if somebody comes and says, I want to get promoted, or I want to do more, my first answer is gonna be like, okay, well, what are you going to do to get there? Mainly because I don't have time to think about it for you. So I think having a plan and showing that you're dependable, and, like I said, a good idea is one thing, but a good idea with a plan is another. I'll give you a quick example. We have a brand new digital producer who just graduated from college in December, and we hired him right out of school, and he's great. He's on our digital team, and he came in, and we're not on TikTok because I'm too old and I don't understand it. And you don't want to see me on TikTok because my boys won't even like do TikTok dances with me. But he came in after being here for a month or so and said, hey, I want to do it. Here's my plan. I'd like to be the voice of it. Here's some ideas. And our answer was, go for it. Just go do it, because he had built the trust by then. So I think just get in, show that you're dependable and have a plan. And the worst thing anybody can do is say no, right?
Okay, thank you.
And that's another thing I wanted to ask James. With all of these different platforms, evolving, TikTok. Now everybody has shifted to short form video. Before, and every platform requires that, each algorithm requires, a different length of video. Say, for example, YouTube, that you might have a long-term, more video, documentary style, short film style, but for TikTok, Instagram Reels, that goes for short form video, no more than 60 to a minute. So how does, when we talk about the future of news, how does news and short form video, how does all that correlate?
Well, I think the newsroom will always decide. I don't think a lot of them have done TikTok. I know recently I saw one station was going to take a stab at it and try to do something. But to me, it's been amazing to see Twitter and Facebook last this long. And, Snapchat, same thing. There have been some anchors who've been able to rock and roll on there. And it just adds to their credibility if their videos are good, and to their exposure to their audience. It's another way to engage with the audience. I have one reporter, Adam Seibel, who does a lot on Instagram, and it's very creative and clever. And he's got quite a following. When he's gone live on there, he's got a lot of followers. So what you can do to put yourself out there through those mediums is helpful. It's great. And then once you're with a station, those keys to the kingdom are a little more monitored, and we are careful about what we put out and everything. But for your personal pages, that's where you can really show who you are, what you're about, what you stand for, and you can connect with so many people. So I think it's here to stay. And, some stations have LinkedIn pages. So all those social media platforms are important to embrace and to learn. And who knows what's next? What's going to be next? There's going to be something. And we want to be ready for it and always learn that new thing. I'm on TikTok and I'm on Snapchat, and those two are the ones that I don't feel like I use as much, but I tweet and Facebook and Instagram probably every day.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I was forever thinking like, we don't need to be on TikTok. That's not how people are getting their news, like our specific audience, which is like moms like me. And then two things happened. One, I started to hear from my friends who were mom friends, and are like, oh, did you see this on TikTok and this on TikTok? I was like, okay, well, I've missed the boat. And then also I see how much misinformation my kids are learning on TikTok about news stories. It's terrifying. My boys are 10 and 13. And so I was like, God, you know what? At some point, we've got to combat that by getting in that space as legitimate news organizations in some way. So that's what kind of changed the tide a little bit for us. What you don't want is like I said, somebody like me who's not a TikTok user. You don't want me on TikTok. Like, you've got to get people who it's their natural voice. Otherwise, it's going to be embarrassing. And my kids will tell me I'm cringy, like they tell me anyway.
Yeah, that's so funny. I'll tell you this much. For everybody on this call, you're looking for a job. One of the roles that somebody brought to my attention, like when I was first starting out in my internship, like through the Emma Bowen Foundation, they told me, they said, hey, you need to really get in digital producing. I had this thing. I said, no, I'm going to be on air. You're not going to. He said, no. They sat me down and they said, listen, the newsroom is going here. If you can be a producer, right, AP style, and if you can really go in and be a digital producer, you will always have a position. And they were exactly right, because that's what we have seen. So any of these skills, TikTok, social media management, even live tweeting, as we see with Ukraine and Russia, a lot of the videos that we are seeing is very short form video, right? That goes back to attention span and everything else. So we're looking, honestly, if we're going through 10 different news organizations, we don't have time to sit there and maybe watch a whole 10-minute newscast. But if we can get that 30-second video with the text and the video, and that can give us our same information, that will keep our attention, and we'll probably share it to 5 more people. So always think about that, especially when you're talking about like a newsreel, local wise creativity, just for my people who are making newsreels. Incorporate TikTok in there. Take that TikTok watermark and say, hey, I use that for here. Instagram, use that Instagram watermark and plug it in there. Okay. We have some more questions. Cherie, you have a question and you are also looking for a job. So please tell us who you are.
Okay, so rapid fire. Cherie Pruitt, almost graduated for 2 years now in communication, and of course looking to be a MMJ. content producer, basically anything in the news industry. So my question is, any ideas or any thoughts just about creating stand-ups and the overall reel production?
I like a reel that is about 7 or 8 minutes, and I want to see a few stand-ups in the beginning, and then I want to see 2 packages, one hard news, maybe one feature, and then I want to see some anchoring at the end, because I'd like everyone in my staff to be anchor material. And I think the best anchors report and the best reporters anchor. And so I look for that among my staff, that they can do everything. So, and I also want to say that back in the day, they used to say, don't put your name slate, your email, your handles, your phone number at the beginning and the end. Well, that's when we had VHS and we had to rewind and fast forward. Now we have YouTube. Your reel is going to be on YouTube. Your phone number needs to be at the beginning and the end so we can see it and call you or email you. But yeah, short 7 to 8 minutes, and that's how I like to see them.
My number one real advice to everyone is put your best stuff first, no matter what it is. James is a much more patient, wonderful person than me, and he will watch more probably than I will. I have a pretty good idea if I want to go forward with a conversation in the first 10, 15 seconds that I see someone. Is that awful to say? Yes, but it's absolutely true. So if you think, I've seen people say like, oh, I have this stand up, but I thought I'd like get into it first. And then it's like my 4th stand up. Like, well, I might not see it. So don't take any chances and put your best stuff first. Totally agree with James. Make it super easy to figure out how to contact you. If I really like somebody, I'll hunt for an email for a few minutes and then I'm like, I'm over it. Also, if you have a voicemail set up and you're looking for a job, make sure you can get voicemails on it. If your voicemail is full, or I've called people about jobs and it says, this person doesn't accept voicemails, which sounds amazing and wonderful, and I should figure out how to make that setting on my phone, but just make sure it's easy to contact you. As far as just stand-ups in general, it's been really tricky in the pandemic. The number one thing I'm looking for is I need to see and hear you. Can I see and hear this person clearly and picture them on my air? And I know a lot of people have been wearing masks in their stand-ups, which I totally get. We've had our reporters wear masks off and on throughout the pandemic.
Right.
But find something at the beginning of your reel that I can see and hear you clearly. Because that really does matter. And farther on that you've got a mask on or whatever, I get it. Like that's all good. It doesn't bother me at all, but I just need to be able to see and hear you up front. And then a little mix of things. If you're applying for a strictly feature position, then you can have all feature live shots on there. But we had an investigative reporter position open, and I had someone send me a reel that was like, I'm riding on the rodeo clown and I'm like at the hot dog stand. And I was like, I can't picture you doing this particular job. So just try to make sure there's enough variety there so we can see you doing a number of different things.
Thank you.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, Melissa and James, you all are hiring for on-air positions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
I have 2 anchor positions. Yeah.
2 anchor positions, and then Melissa, you also talked about an MMJ position. And Cherie, you just did your reel. I don't know, maybe you should email them. Okay, moving on to the next person. Going over here to, it is Bronte. So please ask your question for us.
Hey, hi, I'm Bronte. So my question is, what is the best way to get a news director to, get back to you and, get that interview set up for the position you're applying for?
That's where I'll again go to timing. There are some days where I'm firing off 10 emails saying, hey, let's set something up. Let's set something up. It just, to me, that's where, again, it's like, it's not you, it's us. And we not like in a 7th grade breakup kind of way, like it really is us in that situation. So I think just, James talked about being persistent. I think politely persistent is not a bad thing. This is something I probably should not share, but if somebody sends me a Twitter message and taps me on the shoulder that way, I might be more likely to see it. I am buried in email. and I know James is too, it is an email disaster in there. And so I'm not always even going to see all the emails. So again, I think if you're really, really interested in it, find other ways to contact us. I mean, don't like show up on our porch or anything with like unless there's like baked goods or something, but
Yeah.
until some, I mean, and I feel like until somebody tells you no, it could be a yes, right? So find that way to be, you know, politely persistent, I think is the way I would put it.
And you're going to learn, you know, we want you to interview us as much as we interview you, because I think that's very nice that Melissa would look at a Twitter nod, you know, because I had a general manager once that I contacted on LinkedIn get upset that I dared reach out to them on LinkedIn. And I'm like, well, there's a big flag that that's not someone I want to work with anyway.
Right.
So I had another one get upset that never mind. We won't talk about that. But so you want to know who you're going to work with, what they value. Are they nice? Are they jerks or not? You don't want to work for a jerk. So, you know, you're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing you. You want to talk to people about the newsroom culture, what it's like, what that person's like, and talking about trying to get in front of a news director. Maybe if someone knows that news director and you're somehow connected to that person, it doesn't hurt to say, hey, I know your friend or so-and-so knows so-and-so. Can you let them know I've applied, and to see if they can just look at my resume? Because that's, you know, that's the battle. You know, you want to apply and you want to get in front of us. And so if you know someone who knows that person, I've had people say, hey, call in someone else's behalf and say, so-and-so applied, do you mind looking at it? And I'll look at it. It doesn't mean I'm going to call them or email them,
Right.
but I'm going to go the extra step and look at what they've said. So nowadays, you know, I've heard of people text messaging, Facebook messaging. So, you know, it doesn't hurt to do that once maybe, but it just depends on how that person operates and what they think about it. Some of them may not like it.
Right.
But for me, you know, if you reach out to me once and you've applied, I'm going to go look at your stuff again and run it up the poll to my bosses to see if this is someone that we would want on our team.
No, I think that's really good. And I can tell you this, it's very interesting because our big membership is through the Facebook group. So oftentimes somebody will post a reel and there might be a hiring manager who they've probably tried to call their number and they didn't recognize the number, whatever the case may be, and they just hit them up on Facebook Messenger. And we've had, you know, job offers and communication go through that way. Even during the pandemic, I've even received job offers of people in my Facebook Messenger. They went from LinkedIn where they say, well, hey, I know you're probably not checking LinkedIn, so I'm just going to go through Messenger because I know we'll talk through there. So like James said, everybody has a different communication style. And then you also want to just see what that newsroom environment is. You know, what about your personality? Does it work? If it is an innovative newsroom, are you able to, you know, go to your news director and say, hey, like Melissa said, this is my plan of action for TikTok and this other social platform. Do you think this is okay? So you just want to ask those questions. Sometimes if you are really in a position where you just want a job, you'll just be quick to say, whatever, I'll just take anything. But what I'm hearing today is that make sure that this environment is going to be conducive for learning, because it's going to help you in the long run. I have Carla. Hey, Carla, you have a question? We have Carla, Eric, Kristen Hyde. I see when they said the on-air positions, you begin to position your camera differently. So I saw that, and you're on air, so I knew. And let's see, we'll have some more people. Catherine, Wesley, Tierra. But Carla, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, I'm Carla. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, guys. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you, Kamara, for giving us this opportunity. I'm about to graduate and I'm looking hopefully for a production role. And it's very exciting to see so many open roles. I wanted to know from you guys, I know we went over it a little bit, but what are like some top characteristics you guys are looking in a producer besides the pretty obvious like multitasking and of course like perfect grammar skills and AP style? Thank you.
My number one skill is willing to be a producer. No, I think you touched on a few of them. Like being somebody that's willing to be okay with your day falling apart and having to reshuffle things and and somebody who likes to look at the big picture of things. So I was a reporter. That was my job, starting out in TV. And I loved being able to just focus on my story. Like, I don't have to worry about the noise. I don't have to worry about weather tosses. I don't have to worry about. And then when I became a manager, I did some producing, and I loved it in a totally different way. I love to be able to sit back and create moments and that kind of thing. So I would think, like you said, good grammar, good writing skills. The number one thing I wish our producers would do is watch other news. There is so many great places to get ideas. The number one place I get ideas for like different shots or whatever, and then, newsroom shots or ways to present stories is ESPN. They're like, Get Up show on ESPN. We've probably stolen 5 camera shots from them, not stolen, borrowed 5 camera shots from them. So somebody who's curious and wants to find different ways to showcase information. You also got to be a little bit bossy, and I always use bossy as a compliment. But you're going to be telling people who are more experienced than you and make more money than you and are older than you, that they have to say something differently or stop talking or whatever. And I will tell you, all of those people, especially, at least in our newsroom, but really all those people, they're good with it, and they'll listen to anybody as long as somebody is confident in their decision making. So you got to be somebody who likes to make decisions.
I would just add, news directors are looking for fun, high energy, positive people. And that type of person, walking into the newsroom that's going to make a difference and going to send those positive vibes is great. And one more thought on choosing your boss and your newsroom and your place of employment. Some of these companies are so large now. We are proudly a smaller company, but we're huge on so much. We're so ahead on the digital front, OTT, streaming, things like that. And when you look at our history, we've been here for 132 years. The first John T. Murphy in 1890, had a newspaper. And here, 4 generations later, the same family is upholding journalism, good storytelling. We're big on safety. We try to send someone out with our reporters for live shots so they don't do them alone. And so you want to pick the company you're going to work for. We have a company that's going to email the staff directly, the top leaders, the top owners. They're going to call them when they've heard they've done a good job or that they're sick or ill. They're going to give them a phone call. And you might not find that in very many companies, news companies.
Yeah, and I'll also tell you this. When you just talk about an environment, one of the things that James and Melissa discussed, are goals. So what are your goals? And they might change, but initially when you start out, you need to have a sense of direction where you want to go. So you might start off as a digital producer, you might start off as a PA. That's totally fine, right? But from there, where are you going? Do you see yourself in management? Do you see yourself, I remember, I think like my first or second job, they were just like, hey, so now, like, where do you see yourself? Because you've been doing this, so now you have surpassed this level. So what else do you want to do? So have a sense of direction on where do you see. You don't have to have a 5-10-year plan, but just get comfortable with saying, hey, probably in a year or 2, I might want to move up to this area, and that's totally fine. Let me see. We have Eric Knox. I believe he's an instructor at Alabama State University. So he makes sure that he connects his students with us. But I just want to remind you all that James, Melissa, and the entire company for Morgan Murphy Media, they are hiring. And I think 80% of you all who are on this want a job. So that's why you came on here. So the Zoom administrator, Tiffany, she has went ahead and put the link, and I know James also put the link, but this is, go ahead, click on their Morgan Murphy Media job openings. Make sure you click on there or save it and apply to those jobs afterwards. So Eric, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Eric, down here in Montgomery, Alabama, at Alabama State University. My question to the news director, what can I do as a professor to kind of better those students or the potential journalists to be ready for you guys when they leave campus?
Oh, I have such a list. No, I love that you asked. I think not every instructor knows to ask the questions, and a lot of folks who are teaching college students maybe we're in the business a long time ago or haven't, I mean, this business has changed more in the last 2 years than probably in the last 50 because we had to. So I think just connecting with news directors when you can and asking what's changing, what do you need, that kind of thing is so important. I talked to a very large and very prominent school of broadcasting not long ago, and their instructors did not understand that people on TV were also doing digital work. And I was terrified by that realization. This is a really, I'm not going to say the name of the school, but it's a very big school with a great reputation. So I think just as long as you as instructors have an idea of what that newsroom is going to expect. I also think that, having some times where your students are working under a really strict deadline, even if it's just for a day, because I remember being in college and they would say, okay, you guys have a package to do and you have a week to do it. Well, I was working at a TV station at the time and I'd be like, I don't have a week to do it. I gotta do it right now. So playing with those deadlines a little bit, I think can really, really be beneficial. You can't replicate what live breaking news is. You just can't do it. But I think at least if you set that expectation for what's going to be there, I think that's huge. And I think whenever you can connect your students to working journalists, whether it's reporters, news directors, I mean, you're going to hear a lot more accurate representation of what's happening in newsrooms from the people that work for James and I rather than for James and I, because we sit in our offices and boss people around, but they're the ones doing the work. So I think if you can expose them to those conversations too, that is a huge benefit.
Yeah, and I would just add, to let them try to teach them real life experience is going to happen in getting in a newsroom, and working in a newsroom is going to let you know whether it's for you or not. So those internships are critical. So I think the more professors reach out to companies that have those and news directors that have those to place their students, and to make sure your program has that where they're going to get paid and get credit so that it's valuable for everyone. That's just invaluable to have an internship so that you can see what it's like and start learning through osmosis and decide if it's what you really want.
Eric, were you able to get your question asked?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
And make sure you connect with me. I know there have been a few professors or whatnot, but maybe like in this next quarter, we can set something up with ASU, because that'll be really cool. So just make sure you connect with me offline. Let me see who else has a question. Please raise. Oh, Kristen, hi. Are you still looking for an on-air position?
Hello, and yes.
Okay. Now, how many? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I've seen your reel before, but you have already worked at a news station, right?
Yeah, I've been in the industry since 2016.
Okay. So please introduce yourself, and if you have a question, please feel free to ask it.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, my name is Kristen Hyde. I am originally from Alabama, and I have been in the news industry since 2016. I've done a little bit of everything except anchoring. I started out as an associate producer, which went on into digital content producing, and I went on to be a producer. Now I'm a full-time MMJ in Jackson, Tennessee, at the NBC affiliate in Jackson, Tennessee. So I got my bachelor's degree at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I also have a master's in professional communication at FSU in Tallahassee, Florida. So that's a little bit about me.
That's fine. Do you have a question to ask the news directors?
No, I don't at this time, but thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you very much. Also, I know Tiffany has been dropping it in the links, but who else has a question? I know a few of you all have different comments below. Dijon, you're based in Atlanta. Let me see this.
Mute myself. Hello, everybody. Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Doing good, thanks. Let us know. I believe you dropped in the comments that you are maybe looking for something in master control.
Yeah, like the switchboard and the master control. Y'all have any openings as far as like the operator or the switch master?
I think we,
Where are you wanting to work? What area of the nation are you willing to work?
Yes, sir. Like behind the scenes, like with the wide, working on the wide angle, the zoom in, the close up, and the control
Right.
room. Right.
Like Melissa said, someone else does that hiring for us, but it's the same website where those jobs would be posted. So we always have production openings, but a lot of them will start out in production and then work their way up to directing, unless they have directing experience already coming on board. You're talking about master control or newscast directing. So again, that's where you want to get your foot in the door. And if it's running teleprompter or graphics or audio or editing, you can prove yourself and then move from there, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Yep. Thank you.
and I just glanced through, it looks like we have that type of opening at every single one of our stations in our company. So, so I would definitely check that out. The people on the operator side hire those positions, but they're always looking.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. So, oh, Kristen, hi. I see that you have a question.
Yes, I did want to ask the two news directors, how do they feel about lifestyle, and does lifestyle play any part in any one of your newsrooms?
It doesn't, I mean, for us on TV right now, it doesn't really, the closest thing we have is kind of our morning reporter position, but that's leans more hard news than lifestyle. I think as our company and other companies grow the OTT and streaming presence, there's going to be a huge demand for that, for people who can do it well. I think that's where you're going to see more of that. There's a lot of stations who might have, 10 a.m. shows, 11 a.m. shows, or like a Fox station with like a 9 p.m. show that might gravitate more to that. But at least on the TV side, we're still a little bit traditional when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say the same for us. We're focused on hard news and good storytelling, getting character out of our interviewees. We have a public affairs show, and even that we try to keep it. There is some fun at times. So there's always time to let your hair down and do something creative and fun. But for the most part, we're traditional hard news station.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now if anybody else has a question, please raise your hand. We're going into the last 10 to 15 minutes, but I wanted to show you all the different openings that they have. So some of you all, your cameras might be off. So we're going into that last session where ask your question and forever hold your peace. It is very rare to have two news directors to take some time out and speak with us. So I definitely want to say thank you. I'm seeing the two hands raised. So thank you for that. And if you've already asked your question, please lower your hand. News streaming anchor, broadcast facility engineers. We also have some sales positions. I know a few of you all have, I have been getting a lot of sales resumes. So just heads up. News content producer for Now's internship, digital marketing strategist, part-time radio. Oh, IT help desk, associate 1 tier. Let me see. Wesley Singletary. Hello, Wesley. You
How
said
are
that you,
how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you? He is looking for a job. You put down there, you're the last comment, IT help desk, remote preferably. You would have to go in. So if you are interested, and I think that job was posted February 24th, but definitely apply for this position. Who, let me see this in IT. Let me see that. Here, I'll drop the link down below. How long have you been in IT?
I'll collectively, I would say 2 years.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I just dropped that below. I have a question for the two news directors, James and Melissa. News topical producer. Is this someone that, would you get them straight out of college?
I think it depends. I mean, not to lead the promotions department or the topical, promotions department, but to be on the team, I think we would absolutely consider that for the right person. It is an art. So yeah, it really just depends on the right candidate.
Right. Okay. Then also Joplin, Missouri, IT administrator. There's another IT position there, Wesley. So there's a lot of IT positions. For Cherie, news producer, news assistant, multimedia producer. For Victoria, Texas, Dijon, you were talking about master control. So I'm going to drop that right there in the comments. Make sure that you apply. And here we go. That. Now make sure that you definitely apply news anchor, weekend anchor, part-time studio technician. I wanted to ask you, James, sometimes I've gotten this question a lot. There have been people who they just said, listen, they need a job in the industry. They have been doing Uber, Instacart, and so they've been, just trying to make it. And then when they get maybe a station to offer them something part-time, they're conflicted on to take it or not, and still probably do the same thing and just move to another city and try to, flesh out their dream. So what would be your advice to somebody like that?
Well, I mean, if you're willing to to learn the production jobs, you're going to just be more valuable as you move up. One of my general managers at Amarillo started out on the production staff. There's a number of stories like that where general managers started out on the floor as production staff. And so, getting in the business, you were talking about the position of writing promos.
Right.
When I worked in San Antonio, it's a bigger market. So we did have entry-level positions for people to do those jobs, writing promotions and stuff, and they got better and could move into bigger and better jobs.
Right.
So you don't want to just take anything, you want to be happy with what you're doing. And it's okay to dream, like the young man that said he wanted to be a host, a talk show host, or it's okay to dream, and you can keep that dream for 20 years and be in the business and be doing something else. It's okay. You never know when your big break might come. But this is a job that's definitely in someone's DNA and blood. We're just different. We're journalists. We love telling stories. We love news. We're news hounds.
Right.
And you're going to know in your first 3 to 5 years if this is something that you're going to want to do as long as you can, or if you want to look at doing something else.
Right. Right. And a lot of you all, even some of the skills that you have, like the classes that you've taken, the real world experience in PR and marketing, those are the way that you know how to brand almost for maybe a company is the same is those same techniques for a news station. So I just want to put that out there. Social audience, digital audience is really key. So we talk about TikTok, but a brand, there are a lot of stations who they've gone viral on TikTok or Instagram Reels, even the Washington Post. They have really begun to tailor, their news to how this audience is thinking right now. So, if you are able to do that, showcase that in your work and also sell yourself on an interview. I see we have 2 people who have questions and then we are going to wrap up. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. But we're going to first start off with Mike, then Tierra.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can.
Thank you for hosting this event. This is a really, really insightful talk. My first question was kind of already answered. I was curious if the positions were remote or in person, but you said it's in person, right? For almost all of the
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, so yeah, the second one was more about sales. Like, how many years of experience do you look for the sales positions?
Mike, are you in sales?
I was looking for jobs in production or writing, but I'm also interested in sales as well. Yeah.
Okay.
James and I don't hire for sales, but I can tell you that our sales folks are always looking for people, and sometimes they'll hire, like, I know our company, I think this is company wide, has a really specific program that they put new salespeople on. So they might have somebody that's just starting out and they have a really specific laid out plan for how that person will progress. So for the right person with the right background, they'll hire with, possibly even no experience.
Correct.
I think, again, it just kind of depends on a little bit of the background and, the mindset of that person as far as how they would go about working in sales and that kind of thing. But they do have a specific kind of an on the job training sort of plan. I know that our station does. I'm assuming the other stations in our company do as well.
Yeah, that's the same for us.
Got it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Great question, Mike. Tierra Carpenter, what do you have?
Hi, I'm Tiara. I currently work at Wish TV in Indianapolis, and I work on the lifestyle side of the station right now. And so my question is a little bit more based on my personal experience, but I'm also hoping that it may help someone else. So currently I am looking for jobs, and I'm sorry, is there an echo?
No, you can keep going. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure y'all can hear me okay. But yes, so currently I'm looking for jobs, and since I am on the lifestyle side of the industry, I write web articles, but my web articles aren't necessarily always in AP style because that's not really what my bosses want or require. Also, sometimes clients may prefer that their article is a bit more conversational, and sometimes they provide certain copy that they are set on having, and I'm not really allowed to object it, even based on AP style rules. So sometimes some copy and articles may have my name on it, but they aren't written AP style. I'm wondering from the news directors if when I am applying for more serious jobs that may require me to write an AP style, or when I'm listing that I know AP style on my resume, will it look bad if companies look up my articles and they see that everything isn't always in AP style? And is there a way that I can combat this in any way?
That's a great question. And you work for a great station, by the way. I think, you know, for me, I think just an explanation. Everybody has like funky things on their resume, or like, you know, why they were in a certain place, why they left a certain place, why this thing. I think just being upfront about it. You know, I want our web articles written in AP style, but I'm more concerned about grammar and spelling than anything else. And I think, you know, I think it'd be worth letting a hiring manager know, like, hey, this is what my writing has been, but I'd be happy to show you other ways that I could write. We do writing tests for a lot of our positions, so we would send you something and have you write it anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think it's just important to be upfront about it, like everything else. I mean, honesty, you know, we'll fill in the gaps if we don't know. So you're better off just letting us know, you know, what those things are. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, I appreciate that answer. Thank you.
No, that's a very good question. And I'll tell you this, anybody, especially people who have a blog, because now a lot of people who you might have did content writing, maybe for PR and branding, you say, hey, I want to, you know, try a job at a TV station. And a lot of times, you know, they're saying, well, Kamara, necessarily we didn't do AP style, we did title casting or whatnot. But, you know, whatever it was that you did, just make sure you let them know, say, hey, I'm able to do AP style. I'm able to learn AP style, and also follow AP style on Twitter. They always have good updates. So just this. Let me see this. Christian Baker, you have a question. And are you looking for a job currently?
I am. I'm interested in editing and sales.
Editing and sales.
I'm interested in editing, news editing and sales.
Okay, perfect. Do you please ask your question?
My question is, do they hire for entry level editors? Are they in the entry level editing?
Yeah, a lot of our production jobs are entry level. So wherever you're at, you know, you want to, if you're go apply at the station and let them know you want to do production, however they do it, whether they have it online or you can drop it off or do it on their website. But a lot of those are entry level for sure.
And I think it depends on what.
Also,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Also, what do you look for in a resume for those entry level jobs?
Short and sweet. I've seen people's resumes that are 4 pages long and they're just graduating from college, and it's totally pointless. I think don't be afraid to, like, especially if you're just starting out or you've had one job, like just be honest with that, put that up front. You know, you don't need to pad it out. Like, I've been in this business for 22 years. I have a 1-page resume. So just keep it simple, and you know, we'll know if you're just graduating or if you've just transitioned into a different career or that kind of thing. I don't need to know what job you had in high school unless it was somehow related to news, and put the most relevant content up top. A lot of resume programs will have you put it kind of in sometimes it's in oldest to newest order, that kind of thing. I just say put the most relevant up top.
Okay.
I'm not looking for a specific format. I just want to know the good stuff up front. What you're
Okay.
learning about me is I have a really short attention span.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Christian, and thank you, James and Melissa. Okay, do we have anybody else? I'm going to show you an example of a resume, but is there anybody else who has a question? Has everybody sent me their resumes so far? You can just give me a head nod, a yay and nay. No? Okay, go in the comment section and right there where I said, please send me your resume, copy and paste that email address and send it to me. Okay, you will have a follow-up email on everything. From James and Melissa, do you all have any more words of encouragement, advice? I know today it was almost like the on-the-spot job interviews. They're like, hey, I'm looking for a job. And they're like, okay, now I'm gonna apply. So do you have anything else to tell them?
I think you hinted at this a little bit of selling yourself. I started asking people in job interviews, what's your superpower? And it doesn't have to be related to your job. Find out what that is, because everybody is bringing something totally different, to the job. And, be ready to tell me something that isn't going to show up on a reel or in a paper resume. Maybe it's, I've never been on late one time, or I'm passionate about animals and that makes me empathetic. I don't care what it is, but knowing what you're passionate about and what you bring to the table is so important. And I just like asking people that. Again, the other thing I would encourage is patience. I know looking for a job is really, really stressful. And you also feel like you're making a decision that you're going to make for the rest of your life. Nothing is permanent. Although I plan to be here for 2 years and I've been here for 20, so maybe everything is permanent. But just know that, finding the fit is the right thing. And sometimes that's going to take a little bit longer, or sometimes it'll take you 3 months. It just depends. So be patient and know that by being part of a group like this and taking part in something like this shows you're serious about it and you're on the right track. So keep going, because our field needs people like you.
And I would just say, adding your resume reel to YouTube with the date of, like, news directors are searching for February or March reels 2022. Make sure that date is in your, pardon me, in your, on your YouTube post. And while we're talking about social media, watch your social media. Don't do anything untasteful, distasteful. Keep your pages professional and clean. It's okay to have fun. And then just realize that I think at one point people changed their career goals 10 times in college alone. And so, the fact that y'all are interested in this and you're here is a big first step. And then the only way to decide if it's for you is to keep going, try different things. There's so many hats in the newsroom, and there's sales, even there's production. So there's nothing like it. And as Melissa said, we do need you. So keep at it and keep applying.
I am so excited for everybody. Before we get out of here, I want to show you all this. So, and Blake, I'll actually tell you something. Blake is a member of DCOWmember.com, right? So that is our membership program. So this was his resume. And he sent it to me. I said, Blake, now you know that we are going to get this resume together. I get it. Everybody has. I said, no. After we got through his resume, this is what it looked like. Do you know, once we posted his resume inside of the Facebook group, he has so many job offers. He got a job offer, I think, in Chico, California. The news director just messaged me and said, hey, what do you think about him? I said, well, he's been a part of my group and he's really diligent. Offered him a job. Like he could not find a job. He had just graduated, in December. And I get it. The whole stress thing is like, oh my God, okay, I just graduated. I got my degree. Now my parents expect me to have a job, this, and this. He's like, okay. So he said he kept applying, didn't get any, call back. So we had a discussion about this resume. After we posted it, we got it to the right people. He got a job offer in like 2 days. And then other people kept calling him. So your resume makes a distinct difference. One of the things that I also want to make sure is that within our community, if you are not a member yet, this is our online community. We also have our website, which anybody can be a part of as well. But we always want to make sure that this is an inclusive environment. Everybody is invited. So make sure that you post about it tonight. I know Tiffany has been doing some live tweets, but we want to say thank you to James and Melissa for taking the time. Like, this was so helpful, and we are so grateful for you guys. We just wanted to say thank you. If y'all can come off mute and say thank you, that would be great.
Thank
Thanks.
you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
That's our DCOW gratitude. So
Thank you.
that you all received it.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Well, James and Melissa, I am going to let you all go. For my other people, my attendees, you all can stay. I have one last announcement, but James and Melissa, thank you all so much, and we cannot wait to see you next time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We hope to see your resumes. Thank you.
Yes, we're going to see.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, if you have not, make sure, I'm going to share this with you all. Make sure that you register for this. If you are interested in being a social media manager, digital content, you want to learn about analytics, the whole 9, go over here to DCOW events, go to how to become a social media manager, and make sure that you RSVP to that class tonight. We're about to close registration. And another thing is that there is a code. So please use this code. It's called Teach Me. You will get a significant discount. So make sure that you all apply for this. Go out, go get the ticket so you all can be a part of this class. It's going to be really good. And then we will also teach you about social media management, how to manage these different platforms, and also how to pitch yourself for a job. So you don't want to miss that. I am very, very glad. Christian, Cherie, Carla, Kim, Tyreek, Bronte, Zachary, Kristen Hyde, Dijon, Keith, Wesley, Tiffany, Eric, Mr. Kevin, Tierra, and Mike. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm so glad that you all were able to come. And if anything else, I think you all know where to find me: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I check LinkedIn, but I don't check LinkedIn, so just heads up. But thank you all, and I'm going to see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Kamara. I really appreciate your time.
No problem, Carla. See you later.
I'll be sending you an email.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated. I think you have one tomorrow. You'll be pretty sure you'll be seeing me again. So
okay. Hey, that IT job, Wesley, go ahead and apply for it. I know that you're in Baltimore. So yeah. So feel free. Just put out a filler and then let me know. And then maybe I can send you like the ND's email address.
Okay.
See you later.
Right. Have a good one.
You too.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
On the road, just about to get back to work.
Listen, I know, and another thing is you have a job interview. So
praise God.
We're excited for you. I'm too excited.
I'm very excited. I'm praying it works out. I'm psyching myself up.
Listen, if you keep getting the interviews, that means that you're on a good path. So I'm excited to hear the news for you. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to head out. Let me stop.
Mara, I have a question.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me stop the recording.